A drilling ball inside 50. Lohmann in the pocket, marks it one hand if you don't mind.
Haley, a running Zorko, deep ball. How hot is this? Cameron! I don't think anyone touched it. 5 goals in 5.5 minutes. A chance for Allen to give off to Cameron, moving a little better now. What can he conjure? Onto the chest it goes. Heard it, tried to knock it away. Cameron will try and produce some more magic. So to Ashcroft, he's on the left. He's produced a miracle. An absolute first-class gem.
Wayner. Side bottom confronted and poleaxed. Beautiful stuff from Coleman.
Over 100 already, 106 before the kick. Absolutely perfect.
54-point win here for the Brisbane Lions. 17-17, 119.
It is the Brisbane Lions Fancast. It is Easter Sunday. Happy Easter, everyone. Hope you stuffed your face full of chocolate like my 3-year-old son has been doing all day and is now creating a real fuss in the house. So I know a lot of people will be going through very, very similar things to me right now.
What's the fuss?
Well, just hopped up on chocolate. There's just been a diet of chocolate today for a 3-year-old boy, and I wouldn't recommend it.
How's his innards?
Yeah, it's been a day. It's been a day.
Okay.
Put it that way. It is Brisbane Lions Fancast. It is all thanks to Hop On Brewery Tours. It is all thanks to Chris Marketing, of course. EB by Hiker. I stopped by on the way to the Gabba on Thursday night. Said g'day to Phil and Maddie and the rest of the team there. Enjoyed myself a beverage. And a great place. Make sure that you book yourself a game day package for the upcoming gather round game against North. $70, 3-hour drink package, and you get a meal from the kitchen as well. Book those things at ebbyhiker.com.au. More on that to come a little bit later on in the show. New game alert for you today.
Oh, goody.
And of course, a massive shout out to people that have got involved in one way or the other by subscribing, following, leaving comments, engaging with us on social media, and those that have left us some money in the tip jar. A big shout out to Matt, and another big shout out as well to Emma, for those guys that have been kind enough to throw a donation or two our way at brisbanelionsfancast.com.au. Let's get into it. I thought you were going
to say thanks to everyone that contributed to the new game on social media, because I'm not on social media.
Yeah.
So it would be a perfect crime to get people to do that from there. But
okay, well,
let's get on with the show.
That's not a bad idea moving forward. Hey, big game on Thursday night and a big win. And as Fague said in his press conference, it probably could have been bigger. 17 goals, 17. We did leave a few out there. And Collingwood were pretty accurate in front of goal when they had their chances. So, look, a 54-point win, certainly nothing to sneeze at. But a lot of the talk was about the very late out of Nick Dacos 20 minutes before the bounce on Thursday night. As I was sitting at EB by Hiker, I was watching him struggle to jog in his warm-up, and at the same time Craig McRae was watching it on the monitor as well, going, oh, he doesn't look good, does he?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know too much about it. I think I was coming in a bit late, a bit close to the game on the Thursday evening, but I had a message from my brother that said Dacos looks like shit or something along those lines, and I just thought he might have been playing possum, but it turns out he was. He did look that way, and he was feeling that way. So, fine. Good. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the talk was like, okay, yeah, no, they're missing Darcy Moore, they're missing Nick Dacos, they're missing Scott Pendlebury, but, I mean, the arguments had that we were also missing our best key defender, arguably our best midfielder, and some experience in the back line as well. Obviously nothing to the level of Scott Pendlebury, but... is that going to make up 54 points? Probably not. We outplayed
categorically them. No, it won't. And also, I feel like Pendlebury's gone into the, like, you miss him and then it's gone past the ledger. So it's like, detrimental to a degree. But I'm talking shit. But no, it was good to see them all out. I wish I had changed my tip and tipped us by 70 points. Alas, I did not do that.
Either way, a very good showing. I mean, there were moments throughout the game, especially in those middle quarters, where when Collingwood got their movement going, it did look good. They seemed to transition the ball fairly easily and quickly through the middle of the ground and ended up with a shot on goal. So, you know, tiny things to worry about, but there was certainly a couple of worries there. But all in all, really just picking it, not much that needs to be picked at.
I think a lot of those moments and times when they scored, a lot of them were actually kind of unforced errors that either, you know, in our forward half that led to, you know, our kryptonite being the quick front to back, or just errors in the middle of the field. So there are definitely things to look at, but changes were soft dropped, as you called. I mean, you didn't call them to be soft dropped, but you alerted everybody to the fact that they were just like, here they are.
Yeah, it was a bit strange. They came out a little bit early. They got posted on socials early and then quickly deleted, but we all got a quick look at them, and Jimmy Tunstall comes in, which was a bit strange, you might think, if they're going to bring in a midfielder. I think most people would have thought Sammy Marshall would have been the one after his, you know, pretty good showing in the VFL, and he's done so again, so we'll have a chat about that later on. But yeah, in comes Jimmy Tunstall and, Dara Joyce, which I think we all sort of thought might be the case, unless ZZ was going to come back into the fold.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too displeased with the changes. I mean, the Tunstall one is really weird. It's sort of hard to see. I like him. I want to like him. And I don't dislike him because I don't think there's anything really to dislike him for. I think he's the kind of player that gets thrown in whenever things are kind of either not going particularly well in an injury front or a availability front. It's very rare that he sort of just gets like inserted into a team that's purring and is able to kind of impact in that way. The only thing I can think about with Marshall is that they want to, rather than give him bits and pieces in playing in the first team, they're just like play on the resis, play big chunks of game in and under and, you know, close to the ball and play that, and you'll be better off for it. But maybe I'm giving too much credit. I'm not sure. What was your kind of thoughts?
Yeah, he didn't. He had, 60% game time. Great mark in the early stages of the game. That sort of, you know, flying over the top, and that was good. Obviously, a bit of a shame he didn't finish off his work. Yeah, I don't know. I thought because they were training him in the off-season as that sort of lockdown defender, I thought that might have been where we were going to see most of his work, but no, he seemed to play sort of half forward, a little bit on the wing, and Kitty played largely down back. So it's hard to get a good read. I mean, based on the performance, I wouldn't be picking him again, especially if McCluggage is coming straight back in. So, like, forget about it. But Sammy Marshall had another great game in there too, so I think he's probably put his hand up loud and clear of, hey, get me in this team.
Yeah, we'll come to that. I think it'll just be the ins and outs from last week, with obviously Gardner and Harris being the two that have swapped. Yep. So, So the first quarter, I mean, you knew we were on when it was sort of just like tap to Ashcroft, kick to Rayner, and then the one-hander by Lohman. That just the pure like disgustingness of it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Loved it. So kicked the first couple of goals. He probably got one bit of ducking, but I still think that it's a definitely terrible tackle from Quaynor, that if he doesn't duck, it's still going to be high anyway, but because he just goes over the top. It's weird. It's a weird tackling technique, and we've seen it from Quaynor before in games last year where he got done for high tackles, and it was like, dude, you don't windmill over to tackle. You come underneath. Not that I give an anything how Isaac Quaynor tackles. In fact, keep doing it this way. But we got out to an early lead and we looked pretty good. McStay hit back with a goal, 2 goals maybe, just from errors, dumb things. Not really worth sort of thinking about, really. But the first quarter was good. We knew we were there, had a lot of shots, and took a pretty handy lead going into half time. So,
well, that's it. Like, we established a pretty, like, that sort of 3-4 goal lead early on, and it just stayed there for most of the game, and then it did blow out in the last quarter. And like I said, in those middle two quarters, Collingwood had a fair chunk of momentum, and we certainly didn't capitalise on our opportunities. That kept them within striking distance, but never really threatening at the same time. And their work in the midfield was just outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, we slaughtered them at clearance, and they did have small patches. Like, it seems like, looking at the score worm, which is an easy snippet, but they seem to score goals in chunks with big gaps in between. So, 2 or 3 goals or 2 goals at a time. And there was a lot of trading as well, a lot of back and forth. But yeah, early on it was sort of just, we were in control, and it didn't really seem like we weren't in control, except for maybe a 2 to 3 minute patch a couple of times. Jared Berry was denied a pretty awesome goal, I might say. I was very ticked off about that.
I thought you might have been
sticking out the mitt. We all know how much I love a Jared Berry goal.
Oh, yes.
How was the crowd?
Crowd was good. And, it could have been a case of me. Obviously, I couldn't make it to the Bulldogs game because I was quite sick on the day. But it was good to get back at the Gabba, my first game for the year. Easter Thursday is always packed, and there's always a good showing of Collingwood fans. That's guaranteed. Anytime they play anywhere around the country, there's going to be, a healthy support for them. But yeah, vibes were good. We had, in the members section, there was a couple of Collingwood supporters that had managed to wrangle themselves some tickets in amongst the throes of it, and they weren't too bad. Like, they were doing what they were doing, but they were right. They were very quiet the last quarter.
Yes, they should have been. But yeah, it seemed like a pretty hot crowd, and it seemed like a pretty reasonable, just general game all along. There didn't seem to be too many glaring umpire nonsenses.
Yeah, very different to last week.
Yeah, we got a fair bit of dominance. We were moving the ball really well. Pre-game, the psychopath said that he was just going to kind of try and flood the corridor and not allow us access to that. But I think the makeup of our team and this being a pretty big breakout game, I think, for Oscar Allen, shows our willingness to be able to actually kick up the line when the corridor is being flooded and work in those, 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 or 2-on-2 situations up the line. So it gives us another avenue, which I don't think we had last year. We lacked a little bit of size up the line. So that's good. It's a bit of versatility. It allows us to work on different ways. And we moved the ball well. And it's pretty rare that your sort of best players are all your kind of heavy ball getters and all at once. And I think, there were some standouts. But yeah, the middle portion of the game was a bit of an arm wrestle, but it was a fun arm wrestle, I think.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a pretty low stress arm wrestle. And then the end of the game was great, and we won by a lot. Yeah, your take on the middle 2 quarters? Goals by McCarthy. Good to see McCarthy, back kicking goals, and Oscar Allen as well. And then Will Ashcroft decided to be ridiculous.
Yep. I think, the part about that goal, and obviously, we've seen him do it before, and all the commentators on both Seven and Fox both said, like, that's no fluke, like, that's no accident, like, he does, like, we've seen him do it before, we'll see him do it again, we know he can pull that off. The fact that it was on the left was obviously a little bit special, and Levi almost kicked one on the left as well, and I almost hit Sir Swamp Thing up of like, well, when was the last time brothers kicked a goal in the same game on their non-preferred? And I'm sure it's happened before, because all that weird stuff has happened before, but he's a freak, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's showing a lot physically, I think, at the moment. His running from contest to contest has been, not that it's something that he hasn't done, but it's much more noticeable, which is kind of ironic given that he's got far less blonde hair this season. It's, it's toned down a little bit, but you can see him just like beelining it from contest to contest. And I think his willingness to get in and under the ball, it's freeing Lachie Neale up to do more work in transition, and you're really seeing the level of improvement that you called a couple of years ago, where his Lachie Neale's disposal is significantly better. So it's letting everyone work really well. And it's also not the sort of thing where you look at and go, well, if McCluggage comes back into it, will it destabilise it? No, it'll make it better, So it's worth looking forward to. But one of the weird little things, I think we had 5 posters in the game.
Yeah.
That annoyed. That made me mad.
Could not stop hitting the post, hey? And as I said off the top of the show, still left a lot of points out there.
Yeah, I mean, and those posters weren't like you've bungled a shot and it's gone. They were like, okay, you've gone one from like the boundary line and it's hit the post, or things like that. So, but what can you really be mad about?
Nothing really.
Nothing.
And yeah, it's just one of those games, and it was very much like the Gold Coast game early in the season at the Gabba last year, where the midfield just stepped up and just flattened them. I think we were plus 39 contested possessions or plus 39 stoppage. At like 72 points from stoppage, including 6 goals from centre bounce, is just unheard of. And I think it's like the first time it's happened to Collingwood in like since 2019 or something like that. So we just smacked them in the middle. I know they tried to run Perryman with Lachie Neale, but when you've got all those others doing bits, and even Zach Bailey was like, he had a good game, 25-2 or whatever it was in the end. Like, that's a good game, obviously, but there was still definitely room for improvement from him as well. It just goes to show, and it's been said time and time again about our team from plenty of people across, just the general public to media, that the midfield just bats so deep. It
does, and it's designed that way. And it will continue to do so. And that, positional versatility is something that has been a focus. And, you've got plenty of people that can roll through and give chop outs and stuff. It goes back further, 2020, 2021. I remember us playing Melbourne. So it mustn't have been 2021. So it must have been 2019 or 2020. And they were it was Oliver, Petrarca, and Brayshaw and Gawn, every centre, and Viney. So they had 5, and we had about 9 rolling through. And we just battered them, and it was a good blueprint going forward of, like, even if you've got your, Dunkley, Neale, Ashcroft, or McCluggage combination, roll players through, and keep them fresh and that sort of a thing. So it was really well done. How did you see? So Darragh Joyce, I thought, was pretty much flawless.
Yeah, he was great. Ty Gallop, another game in the back line, and we will get to the questions later on. There's a couple of questions about the makeup and Ty Gallop's role, and in effect what happens to Eric Hipwood and all that sort of stuff. But the back line, Froggy brick wall again, and especially his work on Dugowie in the back half, like in the last 2 quarters, was amazing. Darragh Joyce, great, really solid contributor.
And Ty Gallop, I think, mixed day, funnily enough, tends to give us problems regardless of who plays on him. He'll always score two or 3 goals, unless it's like a token random game that he doesn't. How's that? But he's given Harris Andrews struggles in the past.
Yeah.
And I think this situation, Gallop will learn a lot, because McStay is a pretty unique forward. He's kind of crafty in a clumsy way, if that makes any sort of sense. And I think that Gallop will have learned a lot. There was good body work done and things, but he still got a few goals kicked on him. But again, it's a case of Gallop will learn, and it is really important for that. And I think that's probably why they went, look, you can have McStay. I don't even really remember seeing Membry on the field.
Nah, he did a couple of things, but ineffectual.
Yeah. Waste of space. And Elliott was quiet. Their goals came from guys like Roan Steele and fucking Lachie Sullivan and stuff. Like,
yeah.
If they're scoring goals, they're not winning. And they're not scoring enough, and they're not winning. So, not our problem. Good job, team.
I thought the rucks were really good, both 40 and Sammy Draper. Like, easily Sam Draper's best game so far. And we'll talk about him a bit later. Spoiler alert, he's got a vote from me. But I thought both of them, coming up against Darcy Cameron, who's obviously a fantastic ruckman, and that fella Oscar Steen or whatever his name, Oliver Oscar Steen, whatever, who obviously had a great game debut for them last week, and it was pretty serviceable again. I thought our two ruckmen were really good across the night. 40 had some fantastic moments.
Yeah, they were both extremely solid. I think Steenbottom, whatever his name is, Steenbottom. He had one really good touch, and that was about it. But I tell you what, Draper's an absolute free kick magnet. Like, for or against, just the ball goes near him and he gives one away or he gets one way or the other. He's a big body. And every game it's just abundantly clear. And he's pretty good at ground level. Fort was good. Fort's so solid. You can just mark him off for like a 7.5 out of 10 every game. Doesn't matter. Draper's your wild card in that sort of a sense. And Darcy Cameron was really a non-factor, and that he could have been All-Australian. Was he All-Australian last year?
He won their best and fairest last year.
Yeah. Oh, everyone knows that.
Don't tell Peter Zakos that. But no, he's obviously a fantastic ruckman. Like, obviously. So, yeah, just the work from both of those guys I thought was fantastic. I mean, and as you touched on before, Oscar Allen as well, by far his best game for the club since coming over as well. There was that article that came out about him across the week that's, it's the best he's felt in 5 years, and it showed on Thursday night, the way he, would attack contests and fly at the ball. For a man that probably deserves to not have much trust in his body, due to what's happened over the last couple of years, the way he was attacking the ball and bringing it to ground and creating contests and launching at it, just really good to see. And obviously got on the scoreboard as well.
Yeah, and it complements Logan Morris so well to have that sort of... Oscar Allen's kind of the least sledgehammer in the game. He's not a brute, but he does pull the contest, and Logan Morris is just so smooth the way that he plays. So they dovetail really well, which I think will raise some questions, but I think they're ones that, the coaching group, the team, the playing group, us, we can all speculate and answer, but it'll be a wait and see. That's extraordinarily vague and skeptical, but we're talking about Eric Hipwood, basically.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that will come up for sure, and it will continue to come up. So,
well, we've got a few questions about it, so we will have a bit of a chat about it later on.
But on the whole, I'm loved what I have seen in the last 5 quarters of football by the Lions, and I think listening to some of the post-game stuff, it might even have been Ryan Lester where he was talking to Brian Taylor, and he said something along the lines of like, "We just want to be in a decent spot mid-year, and then you launch."
Yeah.
So that's the MO clearly of the team, where they're saying, "Look, it doesn't really matter. We just have to be in a position to go on a run," and that's what they want to do. And you never want to be playing your best football now.
Well, that's it. And Dan Gorringe put it fairly perfectly.
Dude, this is so good. Pray tell.
Yeah. So anyone that listens to DDF, and I'm sure there will be a few people, it is a fun podcast. Like I do enjoy listening to it. The way he put it was like, this is what happens the last few years. Brisbane get off to a slow start. They get a bunch of injuries. Everyone writes them off. And then they hit their straps in August. And before you even know it, they're 10 goals up in a grand final. And it's just sort of like, well, yeah, that has been the story the last couple of years. And it seems to be how it's unfolded. Like, I mean, we ran with the Bulldogs. Like, yeah, everyone sort of thinks about the first 2 games as like, oh, Brisbane started 0-2. But we ran with the Bulldogs. We should
have won the game against the Bulldogs. Like, we should have won that game.
Upon reflection and with form, that looks good. You can make excuses for the Sydney game. So many changes. Just got blown out. And, Fague said, like, yeah, we're probably 3 or 4 weeks behind where we'd like to be, ideally, with, the consecutive long seasons, shorter pre-seasons, injuries. He even cited, Starcevic is injured, Archie's injured. Like, he does worry about the fact that, like, all these continuous long seasons of 27-week seasons, shorter pre-seasons, it's all sort of starting to catch up, and that we're a little bit behind where he ideally would want to be. The game against the Saints, yeah, it was a win, and it was good to sort of tick that off. But there were still moments, especially in that first half, where you're looking at it going, "Ooh, the skills probably quite up where we'd like them to be." But this week, you felt like, okay, this is Lions footy. This is what we can expect and should expect, and hopefully we'll see consistently throughout the rest of the season.
What did you tip the margin?
Let's have a quick look at that, actually.
Are you going straight into tipping? I'm just trying to...
No. I had us winning by 15 points. So I didn't back us in to blow them out, because I thought Collingwood haven't been playing awfully. And I thought we would win, but 3 goals. Certainly happy to be wrong on that, though.
Yeah, my 47 looks pretty good now.
Yeah, it does. It certainly does.
So someone in the in-game channel on our Discord said, "Oh, didn't JB tip him by 30 or 40 points? Like, good on him." And I was like, excuse me, that coward would never. Oh, absolutely. I got me hot. I was not happy with that. So, had to set some people straight. Yep, good. Anyone else you'd like to talk about before Votios?
Nah, I thought, Kai was good. Logan was really good. Charlie, although he didn't hit the scoreboard, like the work he did off the ball, his little 1%ers, the team first stuff that he did do, like obviously we saw him create that contest against Jeremy Howe that allowed the Zorc goal to go through. He set up that kick to Link that hit him on the chest. There was another moment as well, it could have been in the second or third quarter, where he just took an opposition player with him and created a perfect leading lane for, I can't remember who actually folded into it. It might have been Oscar Allen in the end. And whether he did it on purpose or not, but he just took a player out of the leading lane that allowed just a big pocket of space for Oscar Allen to lead into and just create, just a real team first attitude. He's getting balls in the back pocket. Like, I thought, although he didn't hit the scoreboard, Charlie Cameron's start to the season has been really, really good.
It's been kind of... We've had so much chaos in our forward line in the past 5-6 years. Eric Hipwood and Joe Danaher are hardly what you would kind of describe as stable in the way they play.
Well, Kane Corns infamously said they're never going to win a premiership with those two as your key forwards.
Yeah, and fair enough, but also you're wrong, so sucked in. But also I really like Kane Corns. So it's nice. It seems like there's more structure going on in the forward line because you've got 2 key forwards that are smart in the way they work, and then you've got Smalls, you've got Link McCarthy back, and sometimes when we've got a lot of runners and a lot of chaotic players, but sometimes you need someone to just stand still. And Jared Berry's an example. Yes, he runs all the time, but he's never running like a headless chook. It's like he's running in a line, and it's like, yep, Jared Berry, that's a pillar of the team, and we've got a few of them around. Ryan Lester, Jared Berry. And then up in the forward line, you've now got Logan Morris, who's so consistent with how he plays, and as you're saying, taking players out of the leading lane. I'm sure they've tried to do that and been meaning to do that, but it seems like they actually have the right sort of team. Dare I say, if Jack Gunson was in the forward line now, it probably would look a lot better for him, but he's not, so sucked in.
And having Link back as well, I think, that was Link. Before he went out with that knee, as we know, he would have been leading the BNF at that point, before he did his first knee, and then obviously just 2 years out of the game. But having him back with his footy brain, his leadership, and combine that with Oscar Allen as well, who has clearly got huge leadership qualities, I think, at that front half of the game. And now with Charlie's, I'm not going to say attitude adjustment, but I guess the way he has matured a little bit over the last few years, add that into the mix as well. We've just got so much leadership, and I guess you can see when our leadership group is 38 people and we've got 3 captains, we're just bleeding it everywhere. So it holds us in good stead. We'll get a couple of troops back this week. Answorth and Harris Andrews both come back in. McCluggage is still a little bit touch and go. No need to rush him, I guess. No need to. North are on a bit of a heater at the moment. They're 3-1. Look at their opposition, though, is what I'll say. They're no cherry. But, don't take them lightly. We saw what happened last year, especially. So, We'll chat about North a little bit later on, but yeah, just a real mature performance. But let's talk about moment of the game. Kadeen Coleman just folding Steel side bottom in half.
We'll get anthrax in the mail if we talk too much about this from the Collingwood. They'll clip us. Yeah, that was brutal. All's fair in love and war.
I mean, it was perfect. It was. Kane Corns put it perfectly on Channel 7 commentary. It's like, it's so good. It's very few ways you can legally, assert yourself and hurt a player, and Kitty did it. Absolutely nailed it. Very much similar to, do you remember a couple of years ago, probably like 5-6 years ago now, where Sydney Stack laid Jack Viney out with that bump, and that was like, I don't know if it happened now, he might get cited for a dangerous bump or whatever, because it didn't seem to collect him high. It just got him perfectly. It just reminded me of that.
Yeah, that's similar to last week with Ryan and Gardner.
Yeah.
Where you're in hard, you're in low. This is obviously a bit different, but yeah, it was good.
And then Kane Corns pointed out, it's like, not a single Collingwood player went to A, check on Steel side bottom, or B, remonstrate with Kitty. Not that you could, because it was like all within the laws of the game. It's more just all right, well, are you going to take out one of our most experienced and best players?
Meanwhile, you have the duality of the fireballs, because on the other hand, you've got David King saying that Harley Reid needs to be removed from the field and internally disciplined for remonstrating with James Jordan or whoever it was. Your mate, Sheldrick.
Yes, that's right.
Sheldrick, who elbowed Jinby in the face or in the side of the head and got a week for it, and Harley Reid goes up in there and cop and strays from David King. Bop, 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 bop. Stay in your lane, Kingy. He'll never do it, will he?
Kingy just wants to see everyone suspended.
He said some insane stuff on... I listened to the Fireball, and I said this in the Discord. I listened to the Fireball on Friday morning whilst I was mowing the lawn, and the lawnmower made significantly more sense than Kingy for the most part, He was, you can't compare Collingwood and the Lions. Like, the Lions had all their father and sons, and it's completely different. It's like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you what?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems to get lost. Like, just so much chat. And I get it. He's one of the biggest names in the competition and arguably the best player in the competition. But, Nick Dacos is out. Pendlebury's out. Darcy Moore's out. But as I said off the top of the show, we are also missing our best key defender who, bias, is better than Darcy Moore. Arguably our best midfielder.
Yes.
In Hugh McCluggage. Yes, we've got more support around him so that when he is out, others step up to the plate. Collingwood just doesn't have that.
No, but also we're missing our only lockdown option defensively, which is we don't have a direct replacement of that because he himself is a direct replacement of that. So it's, it's shadows of shadows or reflections of reflections. So, yeah, David King said some insane stuff, and I shouldn't be surprised, but every time I kind of am. So, the lawns look amazing.
It must be that completely full of sense lawnmower that you've got.
Check out the best breweries across Brisbane and the Gold Coast with Hop On Brewery Tours. Book a half or full day tour at hoponbrewerytours.com.au.
All right, let's get into some Hop On Brewery Tours votes, thanks to hoponbrewerytours.com.au. Don't forget they are celebrating their 10th birthday this weekend. They want you to celebrate with them this Sunday. They're having a big celebration. I think it kicks off at midday. Just check out their Instagram page, search for Hop On Brewery Tours, and while you're there, book yourself a half or a full day tour across Brisbane or the Gold Coast. All right, my votes are like this. 3, Will Ashcroft. Easy. 2, Kitty. He's had a couple of good games, but he's really starting to hit his straps. And we're starting to remember, this is the guy that came second in the Norm Smith voting system in 2023 and was Finals Player of the Year. 1 I'm giving to Sam Draper. I could have tossed this up. I thought Fort was really good. I toyed with giving Zorko a vote as well. I thought he was pretty good across the night. Morris, obviously, could have kicked 6. And Kai Lohman as well had a great game. But yeah, Sam Draper, I just thought his attack on the ball, in the forward 50, in the back 50, up and down the wings. The way he attacked every contest, flew high, clunked some big marks. But God, that ball drop, he's dropping it from like up here. Hey, it's woof.
It was an ugly ball. He's like throwing it up. It's like when you're
in quintessential Sam Draper though, isn't it?
Yeah. We haven't had a ruckman like him that just beelines a contest since, I reckon, probably Mitch Clark.
Yeah, potentially.
Jamie Charman.
Yeah.
But Mitch Clark was more recently, so I was trying to, do my due diligence. But it's very almost Clark Keating-ish, the way that he just goes the ball and then he takes 8 miles to do a U-turn to come back around and then attack the next contest, but he always does, so I'm here for it. My votes, I'm glad you went first because I got no idea. Like, Will Ashcroft 3, obviously. I'm going to go with the Logan Morris child at 2 and then Coleman at 1.
Fair shout.
No more needed. I thought Lachie Neale was really good, and Lachie Neale's having a good season.
He's having a great season.
He's really lean. He's hitting the outside more. There's enough players around him doing the kind of the dirty work that he doesn't need.
Bailey was stiff to probably miss out on a vote as well. He had a pretty...
Well, you said before that Bailey's game wasn't that good, and he's 25 and 2.
Good. It was good, but it's like we know he's got the potential for that to be much better. I think.
25 and 9.
And that probably just speaks to the character of him, and I guess we'll have a little bit of a Zach Bailey discussion later as well, because there's been plenty of chat around him and his contract and the way Brisbane are approaching salary cap and everything. I think it's a discussion worth having. But yeah, another great game for him.
I also think it was probably Josh Dunkley's best game of the season.
Yep. And Fleddy's.
Which is no surprise given the surgeries had by some. And that it's taken a little bit to get back going. Cam Rayner was a bit of a nearly game. Bruce absolutely fired a tracer bullet from the boundary, which was amazing.
Oh, but that kick to Cam Rayner, how good was that? That inside 50 to Cam Rayner in amongst 2 or 3 Collingwood players to just hit him perfectly on the lead. Yummy.
Second best inside 50 kick of the round. Luke Parker's was the best.
Oh, that was good, wasn't it?
And Berry was solid again.
Yeah. It was a real, like, everyone just did their role, performed.
And yeah, Levi hasn't been mentioned other than missing a shot at goal on his left, but there's a lot happening in good ways, and I think they're about to hit a bit of a. Hopefully, they hit their kind of like early season, go a bit of a run, and then they'll have a little dip, and then they'll come back and slaughter the rest of the competition.
It'd be good to bank some wins over the next couple of weeks because, on paper, some winnable games north. Melbourne, who have obviously just had themselves a really good win today. Adelaide at home, which it depends. Like, Adelaide are a real mixed bag at the moment. So the next 3 games, the opportunity to go 6-2, maybe 5-3, set ourselves up for the back end of the year. But some troops to come in over the next few weeks as well.
You cut off just before Essendon and Carlton.
Yeah.
Oh, lordy lord. And I'm sure Essendon are going to put up one hell of a fight tonight. So
I genuinely fear for the Bombers tonight. I think the last
Caddy to kick 10.
I think the last 3 times that these teams have met, it's been like 90+ points. So yeah, there's your Sunday evening sorted. All right, changes for next week up against the Roos. Now, obviously, North coming off a big win against Carlton. God, how funny are Carlton. No Tristan Cherry. We know what happened last year when we played them. We're lucky to walk away with a draw thanks to a Jack Payne spoil in the sort of dying minutes. Harris Andrews obviously comes back in. Noah Answorth comes back in as well. Hugh McCluggage, as I said, is still 50-50, but no huge urgency to rush him in. I think if we can take another week with him, that would be good.
Yeah, I can see. So this is. I think it'll just be Tunstall out, Answorth in, and then Coleman will kind of float again like he did the week before, and I think Andrews will come in for Joyce.
Yep.
Purely because I just think that the prototype has more long-term upside. McCluggage, if McCluggage comes back in, which I think him coming in will be the case of resting someone that might be a little bit on the red zone. I don't think there's an obvious person to come in and out. So you could see if McCluggage was to come back in, you could see far out any one of like Link or Zorko, some of the older players just come out for no reason.
Dropping Zorko.
Well, who else? What else are you going to do? Like I've talked for so long wanting to have a more fluid lineup that you can go, well, we don't have to push these players to the nth degree. So why would you? And that's the answer to that question is probably don't have McCluggage come back yet until he's cherry ripe. So, but then that'll just kick the can down the road for the next week and go, well, who do you bring him in for? Don't know. Not thinking about that because I'm not going to manifest any kind of nonsense.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. And, fingers crossed the rest of the team can stay healthy in the meantime, I suppose. So there you go. In other news, the twos, very much the opposite to the seniors. Sandringham got out to that sort of 4-5 goal lead and largely kept it there for the majority of the game. The third quarter, though, Brisbane really had the opportunity to take that game and not just bridge the margin, but establish themselves a bit of a lead. Just was so wasteful in front of goal. And ended up losing by 7 points, and with 20 seconds to go, it was 1 point in it or something as well. So the game was there to be won, couldn't get it done. Sammy Marshall again was really, really good. Harry Arnold was amazing down back. Will McLaughlin had a pretty good game as well. Shadowbrain, good. Luke Beacon was all right. Connor McKenna had some good moments, but had some equally pretty sort of like palm in head moments as well. And you think, and Tom Duday,
I think they're traditionally called face palm moments.
Yes, Tom Duday was good, but looked slow, but he had a really good game. Cody Curtin had some great moments as well. So promising signs, but it's clearly a team as well that there's been a lot of turnover in that VFL list and not a lot of continuity with the AFL listed players as well because of the injuries to the senior team. So
it's a lopsided team at this point. You can only deal with what you've got on a seniors, and it's a bit of a shame for the guys that are kind of journeyman VFL players, but that's what happens when you're a journeyman VFL player, if you're on a rookie list or that sort of a thing. So yeah, it did seem like they kind of had the opportunity but didn't quite seal the deal. So
just some really silly moments, especially in that third quarter where they really should have capitalised, but just were very wasteful in the front half. So they'll learn from that. Sandringham have pinched a couple of good games, so it'd be good when the VFL boys get a win on the board. They'll obviously get probably Tunstall and Darryl Joyce back into that team next week. So that'll be good. Yeah,
but it'll help them to play cohesive football and keep pressure on the guys above, which I think is all we really need to ask for them. Yeah, what next?
Let's go to some tipping.
EB by Hiker is your home for away games. Live footy on the big screen, good beers, good food, good vibes. 65 Manila Street, East Brisbane.
God, those Good Friday games ended up being fun, didn't they?
Yeah.
I had hope for Freo Adelaide, but then, Freo got out to a good lead, and then, as the Crows have done the last couple of weeks, started slow and then tried to bridge it back and fallen short ultimately. Carlton just doing Carlton things. The rest of aside from that Melbourne Gold Coast game earlier, it largely went how we thought. I didn't think Port would win by quite as much. Sydney.
No, Richard. So I watched the Richmond Port game in its entirety.
Sure.
And Richmond It was an even game. Basically, it was an even game. Port Adelaide just kicked goals and Richmond just didn't. So, not that anyone cares about that. Yeah. It was a round of football. Sydney made a huge statement, allegedly, beating West Coast.
I mean,
you catch that headline?
130 points is pretty decent. Because West Coast have been performing pretty admirably.
Yeah, but didn't they beat them by 200 points like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
If anything, they've gone off the deep end, Sydney.
It was worrying. They did obviously look very, very good.
Yeah, but it's Sydney. They're playing their best football now.
Yeah, look. They can be as good as they want all year. It's grand final day where they're going to be marked, as the whole footy world knows. So at this stage, with 2 games left to play, the Dogs and the Dons tonight, and then Easter Monday, which I am very much looking forward to, Hawthorn and Geelong. I am sitting at 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 from 6.
Yeah, 4 from 6. I've got a significantly better margin than you, and I think we're skewed. I've tipped Geelong, you've tipped Hawthorn.
Yeah, still considering changing that one, but we'll see.
I don't know why. Why is it so far skewed in like
I mean, I think
you've got the filthy betting odds on. I don't have that, but I just have the percentile of. So
I think Geelong's still missing. Stengel's not in, and Dangerfield, but like I don't know that that's necessarily going to. I think that'll be a close game. I think it'll be a great game to watch. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Me too. So that's good. You have to do next week's too, don't we? Goodness.
We do have to do next week's, and keep your eyes peeled on our socials for our weekly winner, who's going to win themselves a 300 waypoints thanks to EB by Hiker.
Very good. You're a good boy. You've taken on feedback from me where I thought it was illogical to do the tipper of the round before the round had finished.
Yeah, no. So make sure you're just keeping it. It's probably on our Instagram page. I'll announce that winner. Adelaide next week. As Michael Voss fights to save his job. Adelaide by 5 goals.
I gone Adelaide by 12.
Right. Yeah. It's weird because obviously Carlton fast starting, slow finishing. Adelaide slow starting, fast finishing. So fully expect Carlton to be up by 50 points at halftime and then Adelaide to win by 50.
The old 100-point swing. Yeah, fair dues. Yeah, why is Carlton on prime time? I don't know. Let's not talk about that anymore. Collingwood and Fremantle.
Freo.
Yes. Us, obviously.
Yep. Melbourne, Essendon, Melbourne, especially after their performance today. Sydney, Gold Coast. Now,
I thought you were going to say especially after their performance tonight that hasn't happened, Essendon's.
Well, probably that too. Sydney, Gold Coast. If you had asked me this morning, I said this is going to be a cracking match, but Sydney.
Here's Sydney's real chance to make a statement.
Yeah, if they put on another 100 points. The Gold Coast they're going to get a rocket from Dimmer, and you can't, they will not perform as badly next week as they did today, but Sydney look pretty bloody good, don't they?
Yeah, but I think he'd nailed it before. He talked to us in September. I don't care. You can finish top of the table with a 100% win record. I don't give a shit.
Fair enough.
It's me being very reductive.
Dogs to beat Hawthorn. Unless something ridiculous happens tonight and Dogs lose Sam Darcy and Bontempelli or something.
I'm going to tentatively pick Hawthorn for fun, but that might be a change. Geelong, obviously. GWS, obviously. St Kilda.
Oh, Port Adelaide, St Kilda. Thank God that's 7:15 on a Sunday night. Who could give a shit about that? Saints. But yuck.
So Port Adelaide is so bad, and also I didn't even, in watching that horrendous game, Zach Butters and the Hornet did nothing. They were horrible. Also, Jacob Hopper, terrible. That's my little roundup. Did I even do the tips then? Who knows? Yes, I did. Cool. I know what the score is.
All right, well,
Adelaide by 12.
Let's get to our Chris Marketing questions.
Chris Marketing are your outsourced marketing managers. From social media and newsletters to design and websites, they handle it all, so you can stay focused on your business. crispcoms.co.
Because there are quite a few. Don't forget crispcoms.co. If you need any sort of marketing, if you're in business, these guys will sort it all out, whether it's social media, you need a new website, videos, podcasts, social posts, they do it all. Abby and the team, absolutely fantastic. And of course, they've got your free Brisbane Lions Fancast stickers available at our website. First question is from our friend, Ali.
Hi lads, love your work, first time messenger. Just wanted to say I thought that Ty Gallop did a great job in defence for a guy that's never really played there. But what's the process going forward? Do we keep him there or do we push him back up forward for 3 tall forwards? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you so much. I love it when people get their questions in via our speak pipe. And
I got a fright. I didn't hear that come. You didn't. So apologies if that looked like I was scared, because I was. So.
There's been a couple of questions about that, especially with Ty Gallop down back. Ultimately, I don't think he is a key defender. It is fantastic that we've just got a big tall body that we can throw down there who has never played key defence and has proved pretty serviceable. And I think, especially over the last couple of years and early this year where we found ourselves going, God, what are we going to do for key defenders? It's good to have another bloke that's like, all right, he's got a bit of experience down there. He knows what to do. But ultimately, he's a key forward. And I think by the time that, Harris will be back, Darcy Gardner will be back mid-year, Jack Payne late this year, if at all, to have another bloke that we can throw down there and break glass in case of emergency, he's only going to do him well, because we know Fags loves players that are versatile and can play multiple positions.
Hypothetically, let's say he plays down back until Gardner or Payne are fit to return. Let's say not Payne. Let's say Gardner. So Gardner's on his way back. He's played there the whole time. He's been really solid, almost flawless. What do you do?
I think you still put Darcy in. I think you still put Darcy in knowing that you've got another perfectly good key defender there. And then now we've got Hyde in the forward half as well. And it might be a case of horses for courses depending who we're playing and their tall forwards, their tall back lineups. How we go. Like if we come up against GWS who have got Jack Buckley and Sam Taylor, or a team like that where we need extra height in the forward line, then it's like, okay, well, Ty, you're playing up forward. Or if we're coming up against a team like North, for instance, who have got Nick Larkey and now Cooper Trembath, who's a big tall body up forward, and Jack Darling as well. It's like, okay, we need the extra height and size down there. So it's good. It's good to have. And then you throw in the added question of, right, what happens with Eric Hipwood? Because we had a couple of questions come through about like, well, where does Eric Hipwood sit in all this? Like, does he come back? Like, does he come back in? Full stop as a question. If he does come back in, is he playing in that forward line? Are we having to place him somewhere else? He's contracted till 2029. Is there a spot for him in this team?
Of course. Yeah, I think there's no one that gives himself more to the team than Hipwood, and he hasn't had the opportunity to do it in an unabated manner. If that's a lot of fancy words there, isn't it? Look at me, reading the dictionary for fun. He hasn't had clean pre-seasons for years. He's been carrying injuries like nobody's business. If he comes back and he's the way he was in that second half against the Bulldogs at Gather Round last year, of course you're going to have him in the team. And I think he'll give himself every opportunity to do that. I don't know that I'm as clear-cut as you with, like, Gallup's a forward, and that's all he'll ever be. I think that's
I don't think that's all he'll ever be. I think...
Well, sorry, that he can swing back, but he's a forward.
Like, preferably he's in the front half.
But I mean, Harris Andrews is a forward when he got drafted. Eric Hipwood was a defender when he got drafted. So there's lots of precedent for things happening. I don't think it's quite as cut and dry as it needs to be. And if you can look at trends in the game, and I think having a big-bodied one-on-one defender that can fly is probably more valuable in the back half than the front half, given what we've got already. So I'm willing to wait and see, but I think I said last week it's a convenient way to get Hipwood, Gallup, Allen, and Morris all in the same team together.
Especially if Jack Payne does not come back this year, which I have a sneaking suspicion we are going to see very little of Jack Payne this year.
And how long is Darcy Gardner contracted for?
Well, he signed a 1-year extension at the start of this year.
Yep.
About the same time that... So it came out that Jack Payne... He's had to have a setback with his knees, had another operation. 2 days later, Darcy Gardner signed a 1-year contract extension, which made me think, okay, this knee's not good. Because it was very similar to last year. It's like, Darcy Fort signed a year extension. And then, a week later, the rumours started swelling about Big Oscar retiring. So it's sort of like, okay, maybe I've seen this episode before. So maybe that's just me being a little bit tinfoil hatty. Like yourself.
Oh, how the shoe has changed, or the hat is footed, or whatever the hell we want to say.
The tinfoil hat is footed. Cool.
Yep. So the Discord turned into a mess again, and I had nothing to do with it. So wade through that, man.
A lot of it turned into father-sons, and I guess the way that we put our salary cap together. Obviously, there's been a lot of chat since the Saints game. Zach Bailey, how much money is he going to demand? Caro coming out saying, that some of our more senior players who have accepted smaller money to stay around. And it's been no secret that the Brisbane Lions have been trying to emulate the Geelongs and Sydneys of we want to be consistent finals performers year on year and be thereabouts and just create a winning culture. Hawthorn did it famously in the mid-2000s where it's like, hey, let's keep this group together. You're all going to have to sacrifice a little bit financially, but you will find success. We're trying to do that here as well. Josh Dunkley, Harris Andrews, Hugh McCluggage, Will Ashcroft, they've all signed for unders, if you will. Levi Ashcroft as well. All signed for unders. Logan Morris probably could have got bigger money elsewhere. I mean, we know Hugh McCluggage was offered the world from St Kilda. But we have made it pretty clear we want to keep this group together. We want to keep winning flags. Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit financially to help that along? A number of players have said yes. Obviously, Kalachi didn't fit into that. He's had plenty of reasons to go to Adelaide. And now the question's obviously been put to Zach Bailey, and he will still end up probably being one of our highest paid players if he decides to stick around. But it's been pretty clear that we are not going to go as far as, Adelaide or others, Essendon, that have going to throw 1.7 or whatever. It sounds like we're going to go to 1.3, maybe 1.4. But we're not going to put our culture and the business plan we've put in place for the sake of one bloke, which I like.
I like the can't think of the word. I like the ethos of it.
Is good,
yeah. And I think that there is... So when you hear things, and I'm just a little guy, but when you hear you can get paid $1.3 million or $1.7 million for X amount of years, and it's sort of the $400,000 a year sounds really good, but I suppose if you broke it down into percentages and you were like, well, it's 37% on top of what you're earning to do the same job, but you'll also have to move. You'll have to sell your house. You have to buy a new house. You'll have to what if you hate your coworkers? There's a lot of things that sort of happen. I made a probably a poor comparison that I get paid roughly 37% more to work on weekends, but I prefer not to do it because the culture's different and there's different people there and I don't enjoy it as much. I'd rather work during the week. I was told that was mathematically incorrect. It might be, but, to me, it makes sense to me, and it helps me rationalize this, so that maybe it's the sort of thing. But I'm not too worried, and I think.
I think ideally he would prefer to stay, but he's also would have his manager in his ear going like, "This is your chance to make the money. Like, you're only playing footy for a finite period of time, and once it's done, it's done. You'll never make that money again." And over the course of 7-10 years, it does add up to a lot. And I mean, I get it. Like, sure, you've got to do what's best for you. You've won 2 flags at Brisbane, potentially a third. Like, is that, are you happy to achieve that and then go get pay dirt? I don't think anyone could begrudge him for, making a life-changing amount of money at the end of the day.
I guess he has to ask himself, how much is he paying his agent?
Yeah.
I'll be his agent for $1. And it'll be like all of my income that I would get if I was, slime bag agency would just be like, stay at Brisbane. Job done. That's what the $1's for. Stay in Brisbane. Don't pay me anything. Job done. What a terrible answer.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it would suck to lose him because he can be a game breaker and, very much part of the build and the culture and the fabric of the club. But, if he decides to leave, like I said, can't really begrudge him for that at the end of the day. So, it is going to be wait and see. They've earmarked they're going to have a big discussion around the mid-season buy, and sort of we can expect maybe if he does sign on, expect a call around that time. But it's one of those ones similar to, Cal Archie and Brandon Starcevich. The more silence, the more you're thinking, yeah, he's on his way out.
Well, the original one of these was you were extremely negative about the McCluggage situation, and look how that turned out. So there's precedent both ways.
Yeah, I think because largely we've had a pretty good history of just signing players early and not having to deal with this. But across the last couple of seasons, we've had to deal with it a little bit more. Like, McStay was the one where it's like, okay, he's gone. Because at that stage, we knew, like, all that stuff gets done in the off-season. And, there was a few signings in the off-season, and McStay wasn't one of them. Didn't hear anything at the bye. Yeah, it was awesome when Hugh did sign. This feels a little bit more 50-50 at this stage.
If you were Zach Bailey, the clubs on offer are what? The Dons, probably St Kitts. No, they got no money because they spent all on Naz. Adelaide.
I think Hawthorn, Essendon and Adelaide are the big ones. Adelaide's like the big one because he's from South Australia, like Darwin, South Australia. He spent a lot of time in both those states. I think largely South Australia. Obviously,
how the hell does that work?
Well, I think he grew up in South Australia, but sort of quite north, and then played a lot of footy in the Northern Territory.
Okay, they do overlap, I guess. Yeah, weird. Or not overlap, they border each other. Traditionally, they're called borders. So, the big chat to be had at the bye, but I think Adelaide is probably, there's a lot of similar players to him in that Adelaide team. You've got Rankin, you've got Rochelle now that fill the same kind of archetype of him.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, it's a hard one. Because he's not a unique player. He's kind of unique to us, which is not to discredit the little guy, because I think he's very good. So, yeah, I certainly wouldn't be going to Essendon.
No,
that would suck. Imagine going there every day.
No, and I would imagine if he's even considering it, he would be asking Sam Draper, "Hey, should I go here? What's that like?" And he would be saying, Don't go
mate.
there. Don't go there. All right. Let's get into our new game.
No more questions?
No, a lot of them were overlapping. A lot of it was around Hipwood, Ty Gallop, Bailey. Oh, and a big apology to, I guess, the general public last week with our, hey, who played for both of these clubs? Accordingly, I didn't mention Dara Joyce in all of that. So, oopsie. Oh, there was
you
one
missed
more.
out the one. What's your favourite goal from the grand finals? A bit of a nostalgia burn.
Yes, the grand finals goals 24 and 25. I mean, 25 easy, Lachie Neale. I don't think most Lions fans would like that one. For me, it was the goal in 2024. The goal where I was like, okay, we've won this was Cal Archie's last goal, streaming into an open goal from 50.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I said I had an outside the box one for 2025. Jared Berry's one in 2024 is always going to be the one that I like. But there's plenty, and but the one last year, sneaky one, McCluggage's first goal where everyone runs through the tagger. Is it Mark O'Connor? No, the other one.
Mullen.
Sheen Mullen, yeah.
Yeah.
Where he cops 7, 8
Yeah.
bumps on the way through, and it was just nah, we're not standing for that shit today. So
I think probably
love that goal.
Talking about that goal as well, my favourite part about that goal was because it was a Will Ashcroft inside 50, if I'm remembering correctly, and there is just like the game's an arm wrestle at that point, and there's just no movement in that forward 50, and so Will Ashcroft just pinpoints Hugh McCluggage in amongst like 3 or 4 Geelong players, like off a couple of steps, and McCluggage did not have to move, just stick his arms up and grab it. That was, I know exactly the one.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, new game this week. It's the numbers game.
This looks like an absolute monstrosity.
First question as part of this game is through AFL tables. Can you guess the jumper number that has been worn the most for the Brisbane Lions? Now, there has been a couple that have gone through a number of players, a couple of numbers that have been worn sort of 7 or 8 times, but the one I'm looking at, 9 players have worn this particular number. Can you guess which one it is?
Okay, so you answered the question I was going to. Was it like, is it the most number of games, or most number of players wearing the
That
jersey?
have worn it, yeah.
It is very much the player. Can you explain to maybe audio listeners what the hell I'm looking at here?
So you're looking at a 3x3 grid of 9 Brisbane Lions players. Each have got a question mark in front of them, and if I'm going to try and see if you can guess which number it is, and all 9 players, if you can, who have worn this number since the year 2000 or 97, 98 or whatever it was. 97.
Well, is it 2000 or 97?
97. Spoiler
Okay.
alert, the same player wore it at 97 that did in 2000 and up until 2004, 2005 anyway. 2004.
Oh dear, this is you putting me on the spot here. So I think we've had a few number 3s.
We have?
I don't know that we've had 9 number 3s.
You're close. You're in the ballpark.
Okay. So it's not number 3. It's certainly not number 2.
No.
So it's not 3, is what you're saying.
Not 3. It's very close.
When you say it's close, do you mean numerically close or like...
Numerically very close to number 3.
Okay.
And it's also not number 2.
It's certainly not number 1 because we have about 3 of them, and, you know, I don't think Des Headlands was around.
So
long
what
enough
else
to
is close to 3 that's not 2?
Well, 4, but I don't
Ding.
remember any... Okay.
It's number 4. 9 players have worn the number 4 for the Brisbane Lions. Now, I will back you in to get 7 of these pretty comfortably. I don't think you'll get all 9 because there's one bloke I do not know.
Travis Johnson's one of them, right?
Travis Johnson is one of them. Well done. Ding.
Craig McRae, obviously.
Craig McRae. Ding.
Who wears number 4? Oh, Calamarchi.
Calamarchi. Ding.
Who wears number 4 now?
We've
Oscar
spoken
Allen.
about him on this show. Yes, very well done. Oscar Allen. Ding.
Brad Fixter?
Or, yes, Ben Fixter. Ding. I'll allow you a pass on that.
Okay. Who the hell is Brad Fixter? Is that his twin brother? that wore number 23 instead.
So you've got 4 more. You've done well. 5 here. Yeah, work your way back is what I'll say. There's been some in the last 10 years, recently enough.
Number 4, hey? So, before Calamachi.
Before Calamachi.
Eli Smith, he didn't play a game. He was number 6 as well.
He was number 8.
He was the saviour of everything. Number 4, geez.
A couple of, like...
Oh, is Cam Ellis Yeoman?
No, he was 28.
That is nowhere near.
There's a lot of, like, multi-club players. In fact, the remaining 4 players are all dual or triple club players.
Jared Pollock?
Jared Pollock, well done. Ding.
He's been the answer of 2 questions I've had to do today. Ryan Basternak.
Ryan Basternak, ding.
Have I got the one that you didn't think I would get?
No, you won't get him. I promise you, you won't get him.
You thought I would get Brad Fixter?
I thought you might get Ben Fixter because you have mentioned him before. I thought if there was one more you weren't going to get, it was Ben Fixter and this other person. I backed you in to get 7, so you've done that. Well done. The other one, like, you will not get the person in the bottom left. I promise you that. The top middle that you are also missing out on should be easy enough. I believe is still in the AFL system. Might have recently been delisted.
I was going to say Fev, but he wore number 5. Did he play with Fev?
Oh, no. I don't think so. It would have been close, but probably like 2 years off, maybe.
It wasn't like Sam Doherty played as like number 4
no,
or something,
he was number 1.
No. Okay.
Brisbane, Collingwood, Fremantle.
James Aish.
James Aish, number 4.
I thought James Aish was number... I got him and the one that I just said mixed up. I thought Aish was 1 and the other guy was 4.
All right,
well, who the heck... Can you give me like anything to go off with this last...
Well, apparently this bloke who played a year for Brisbane went on to have a pretty decent career with Port Adelaide. And even though he would have been on Port Adelaide's list for best part of 10 years, I still don't know who he is.
It's not like Matthew Primus or something, is it?
No.
Because I'm like...
Bloke called Tom Logan. Now, there will be people listening right now that go, oh yeah, Tom Logan, of course. Never heard of her. And I looked him up, was on Port's list for many, many years. But you got 8, well done.
You couldn't even find
couldn't find him a picture of him in a Lions top. It was hard enough to find a picture of him in a Port top.
Ugh. I was thinking it could be like Sam Mays, something like that. But all right, well that was cool, nice. You've really thought out of the box with this.
There you go.
Yeah, Jared Pollock was the answer of which player was played for both teams or whatever in the. I keep wanting to call it the True North podcast, but it's Further North.
Further North, yes. Well done. Make sure you listen to those guys because Patrick will be appearing on the Further North podcast throughout the week.
I didn't extend my invitation to you out of spite.
Yeah, fair shout.
Because, hurt people hurt people. Oh, dear.
Look, great game. Great Easter Thursday game. It feels like we're back. It does feel like we're back. And as I said, it feels like that is the level of footy we can expect from Brisbane, hopefully consistently moving forward with some very winnable games over the next handful of weeks. So hopefully we can continue on that momentum. A couple of big names back over the next couple of weeks. And we haven't even spoken about North, really. But, beware. They're not... in years gone by, you mark this one down as a free 4 points, but we learnt last year, and as I said, they're 3-1.
I wonder when the last time we played them where they were ahead of us on the ladder was. Just a rant. It'd be like 2017.
Yeah, probably around then, yeah, for sure.
2018, the Cam Rayner Cup. But even then, I think they might have been behind us, and then they overtook us. So who knows? They've got a bit of quality. Luke Parker and Caleb Daniel, two pretty good ball users, have gone to half. Well, Caleb Daniel's always been a defender, but Parker's swung to half back to enable sort of McKercher and Sheasel to be more ahead of the ball. They got good bursts from stoppage. Wardlaw was everywhere in that last 5 minutes.
Wardlaw's a big in for them, hey? And he was very good against us last year. Yeah,
he did a really, probably not a job on Lachie Neale, but Lachie Neale got 4/5 of sweet FA. And I think big test for Harris, coming straight back into Larky. Down back, there's a bit of chat whether they'll have Core and Pink go to our two talls and then try and get Common to float. But I think they've got quality, and it'll be interesting to see. One thing that Josh was saying on Further North was that he was hoping that it's their first opportunity to go up against a big team, whether they try and play an attacking brand rather than retracting into their shell.
Yep.
And sort of trying to weather the storm, whether they want to kind of come to play with us. And I think that's a really good point and a good kind of litmus test for them, because there will be times later on in the season where they do need to play against teams that are probably, more highly ranked than they are. And this is a good chance to test themselves, even if they fall short after a few quarters. I think we'll get the job done, and I think we'll play pretty well. We seem to. There's a chip on our shoulder about the location of the game, and sort of the general disrespect, I suppose you could call it, of not playing on Adelaide Oval in gather round again. But got to do what you got to do.
And the other thing that probably we need to consider as well, North, obviously, they're 3-1. They've played Port, West Coast, Essendon, and Carlton. So they've played arguably bottom six teams.
They're all bottom six teams, yeah.
Yeah. So this will be their first real test against, a genuine opposition. Not to really shit on these other teams. They obviously got done by West Coast. Essendon pushed them. Obviously, Carlton pushed them as well. But it is going to be a jump up in terms of experience and class. So whether they're going to roll into this game off the momentum of the last four, thinking, we can match it with, the rest of the competition now, and then they come in and oh shit, no, it's different again. Maybe we can hopefully catch them off guard a little bit. But
there is also a point to be made, the emotional nourishment or, of winning games. Have they fat bellies? I don't know, but I remember when we beat Essendon down at Marvel Stadium, I think we got belted the following couple of weeks. So, I think they could be in a decent spot to play well against. I think they've got quality, but I don't think their quality is.
I think it'll be a really interesting, despite the fact that Cherry's missing, a really interesting midfield matchup, because they've got a lot of quality in there now as well. They've got some young guys running through, as you mentioned. And plus they got LDU as well, who is an elite midfielder who's been playing very well this year as well.
Finn Sullivan as well. I posed the question, where does he go? And
teams are still tagging Lachie, and I guess maybe that's because Hugh McCluggage is out. But it is allowing Will Ashcroft to get off the chain a little bit, so maybe they'll start with Lachie and adjust accordingly.
And I can see Dunkley going to LDU at stoppage and then seeing there. But they've got decent players, North Melbourne. They just have taken a bit of time to click, and they're fun to watch, which is weird.
Yeah. I like watching North. I like a few of their players. Zerha's always a bit of fun to see what he's going to do. Their front half is good. Now with Trembath and Dersmer as well, who's really stepped up. He kicks another 3 goals. And Paul Curtis is one of the great small forwards. And then, of course, Larky is super reliable in front of goal. He's usually good for 3 or 4 goals a game. So their front half is good. The knock has been their back six has often been like one of the worst in the league. But Charlie Comben as a key defender, intercept marker has really come along, so he's one to watch out for. But it is,
he had a really good game last year. Really good game. Zoha's a bit of a frustrating one. I called him a shit Cam Rayner during the week. which might have been a bit harsh, but we will wait and see. But it should be a good game. It'll be picturesque. It's at a good time of day, 12:30, not 11:30. So
Slightly better.
Slightly better. Enough time for people to get to EB and
Yes, well, that's right.
Have their lunch.
That's exactly right. Book your game day package, ebbuyhiker.com.au. $70. Use the code word LionsFancast26. 3-hour drink package and a main meal from the kitchen as well. So it's going to be a great day there and should be a good game. And if you do want a full preview, make sure you check out the Further North podcast because Patrick will be on there with our good friend Josh.